All right, so let's take a look at the Cessna 172 flight deck or cockpit instruments. This is actually an exact replica of what I see when I'm flying the plane. It looks like this one's on a flight simulator. If you look over here, it looks like there's kind of like a simulated environment here, but it's a perfect snapshot of all of the instruments that we're going to focus on. So first, I want to tell you which instruments are pitot static and which ones are gyro. So the pitot static instruments are airspeed, VSI or vertical airspeed, and the altimeter. So the airspeed indicator is right here. The VSI is right here, and then the altimeter is right here. So the pitot-static instruments are circled in blue, and I'm going to circle the gyro instruments in yellow. So that's how we can differentiate them here. The gyro instruments are the remaining three right here: the attitude indicator, the turn and bank coordinator, and the heading. So that is kind of a little snapshot of which ones are pitot-static and then which ones are gyro. So again, blue pitot-static, yellow gyro. So now that we know that, I'm going to kind of explain what all of these are. So obviously the airspeed indicator, which is, I'll mark them in red as I'm going. The airspeed indicator right here, this one basically measures the indicated airspeed of the aircraft as it's flying through the air. Now, there's two different types of airspeed. There's true airspeed, TAS, or indicated airspeed, IAS. But when you're reading it on a airspeed indicator, because it's pitot-static, it's indicated airspeed. And then that's basically what that does. And then we'll move on over here to the attitude indicator. So this one is basically showing you the, I guess, pitching motion or the banking motion. I know there's better words for this, but it's kind of late at night right now and I'm not processing everything right when I'm tired. But it's basically showing you the attitude there. I got the word for it. The attitude of the aircraft. So whether it's pitching up, pitching down, banking to the left, banking to the right. You're going to see that on there. And that is basically what that is to help you get a good idea of where your aircraft is relative to the horizon and whether or not it's banking. Because obviously you can look out the window to see that, but sometimes it's nice to be able to see how much you are pitching up, how much you are banking to the left. And it's actually really useful when you're turning because these lines here indicate the degrees that you're turning in. So, for example, this first one here, if we're doing a left turn, is 10 degrees, and then so on and so on. But that is pretty much what that gauge is, the attitude indicator. And then over here, we will take a look at the altimeter, which is right here where I'm circling in red. So the altimeter is going to show you how high you are. It's basically your altitude. Now there's also a tiny little window in here. You might be wondering, what is that? It says 29.9. Well, the standard altimeter setting is 29.92. Now, based on where you are flying, that will be different because the elevation changes based on where you are. And when you put that altimeter setting in, it's going to set the larger hands here to where they need to be relative to that setting. So that makes sure that the altitude that you're reading on the altimeter is correct for the elevation of where you are flying. That's the best way to describe it. The smaller hand on the altimeter measures thousands, and then the larger hand measures hundreds in terms of how high you are. So that is the altimeter. Now we're going to take a look at the turn and bank coordinator here. That's where it is. So the turn and bank coordinator basically helps you understand if you are in a coordinated turn. It also shows you the rate at which you are turning. So that's what these lines are here, where I'm putting these red lines. That helps you understand the rate you are turning at. But it does not indicate the amount of bank. That's what you would use the attitude indicator for right there. But back to the turn and bank coordinator. For example, you'll see here there's an airplane, kind of little airplane drawing on it, and then a ball. Now the ball is called the inclinometer. I probably just said that wrong. I always pronounce that wrong, but that's what it's called. And basically, if you are in a left turn and the airplane is in a skidding turn, you are going to see the left wing go down and the ball to the right. Now, if you are in a left turn and it's a slipping turn, left wing down, ball to the left. Now, let's say you are in a left turn and it's coordinated. The ball is basically going to be right there where it is, somewhere right around the center. I mean, it might not always be right in the center, but you want it to be, but it's going to be right around the center. But that is how you kind of know if you're in a coordinated turn or not, and that is the turn and bank coordinator. So now let's take a look at the heading indicator. This is basically showing you which heading you have. So this is 300 degrees. This is 330 degrees. So it says 33, but it's always an extra zero. So 330. And then here's 3, that would be 30. So that's how you read that. And then this little orange tab there is the heading bug. You bug the heading with that, so that way if you want to stay on a certain heading and you're manually flying the plane, which you usually do in a Cessna 172, they do have autopilot, believe it or not, but I don't think most people use that in this type of plane for short sightseeing flights. Um, so you just set the heading bug with this little knob here, and that allows you to basically keep a visual reference of what heading you are flying. Now, in case you're wondering, this knob here actually allows you to change the heading itself of the heading indicator. So if it's not matching the compass, which is up there, it's kind of out of the frame, but if it's not matching the compass when you check that before you fly, then you can always use this little knob right there to actually set the heading. But this one here is going to move that orange tab around based on what heading you want. So that's really useful when you're flying. And then lastly, this is the VSI. So VSI, or vertical airspeed, is basically a measurement of how fast the aircraft is moving in a vertical motion. So how fast you are climbing, how fast you are descending. So normally we want a standard rate of about 500 feet per minute when we are descending. That's a pretty comfortable descent. Now, it can sometimes go down closer to 1,000. That would be a little bit faster of a descent. It's kind of like the airplane is falling faster. The higher the number when it comes to the VSI, if it's going this way. Now, if it's going this way, that means you are climbing. So it's going to go up when climbing. It's going to go down when descending. It's going to stay at 0 or just around there when you are not climbing or descending. So, yeah, that is a little synopsis or snapshot of all the different instruments. Pitot Static circled in blue, Gyro circled in yellow. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching.